Oh, we back in this again.
Back
Casey.
in this piece.
Casey,
What up,
who am I?
Shane?
That's right. You're a good showman. You're a good showman there, me teeing up the introduction and then you just giving me nothing back, saying hi like it's a phone call. We just had the show before the show, and we've decided to not choose violence. However, welcome to 40K Fanatics, where we talk about stuff in the hobby of what we've done and what we like, all things 40K, and other stuff
Including
as well.
Space Marines.
Including Space Marines. Casey, we got a new segment.
We do.
Stick around to the end of the show, everyone, for an exclusive Space Marine segment.
It's very special, very intimate, very awesome.
It's going to be really cool. But before we get to that, we need to open up this bits box and talk about what we've done in the hobby this week. I got a game in.
You did.
It was Dataslate, which, by the way, is our main
As
topic
did
today. I got in a game against the Black Templars, and it was really, really good. Shout
Check out the X for the photos of his battle.
At 40K Fanatics on X, formerly known as Twitter, or formerly Twitter is the way that I keep seeing it referenced in all media. I kind of feel like that's a bit lazy. The parenthetical formerly Twitter. I feel like we know by now. Capital X we know is Twitter. Like let's just
I'm
adopt.
still calling it Twitter.
I'm not. I've just started saying that it's on X.
I'm stubborn and set in my ways.
I understand. However, you have updated your orcs. If you guys listened to us last week, first of all, want to give a shout out and a thank you to the homie Lane for that LVO winning list analysis. Go and check that out. But you updated a paint job on one of your orcs like we talked about.
Yes, I recently painted my boss Nickrod. Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, yeah, but then you had
the
a
runt herd.
Yeah, the run herd. You had a old painted orc.
Yes.
Who looked like it was one of your first paint jobs ever.
Back in 2019, I believe. Yes, I got back into it. The first kit I bought was some Gretchen back when they were $12 instead of $20. And yeah, I bought them from my local game store, brought them home, painted them up, considering death skulls. And man, if you look at them, they are just terrible. But I repainted him. I was like, you know what? He needs some basing. Why don't I just paint the whole thing?
And it looks great.
It looks really good.
I mean, and check that out on X and the Instagram.
The squig looks a lot better.
What's the Instagram? Your handle on
The
there?
gram.
What is the gram?
My gram, or our gram, well, mine gram. Find me on at Prime Paint Wah on Instagram.
Say it again. You said it so well.
Prime Paint Wah.
There we go.
WAAAGH.
Yeah, because that was the huge improvement done in an A/B comparison that I was talking about that I'm seeing in the way you painted Boss Nickrod. But what else did you have this week?
We also... Are you talking about what I think you're talking about?
I don't know. I'm asking your bits box, sir.
Oh, okay. I had a few models come in.
More models came in.
Yes, I had my Mega Knobs come in. So my Big Mech and Mega Armor will not be lonely anymore.
Don't let him be lonely on the battlefield.
Yeah, they look pretty good. Man, they got a lot of gubbins, lots of bits. I can't wait to put some of those in my bits box and use them later.
I have been doing so much hobbying. I have just been on a tour de force of hobbying, and some of it has been 40K.
You back on 40K, or are you still on the Star Wars stuff?
I'm on the Star Wars, and I'm on the 40K, and I'm on the Judge Dredd, but I want to go back.
I know you said you wrapped up the Star Wars stuff.
No. Because I've created a monster. I'll get to that in a moment.
Oh, right, yeah.
Our Dataslate talk is not going to be super duper duper in depth, guys. So we're going to stretch this bits box a little bit, and then we're going to give you a little overview on the Dataslate, because I find Dataslate talk to be quite boring sometimes. And if it's not your army, I know I kind of don't want to hear about it. And so we're going to touch on as much as we can. We're going to hit the high points. And so you guys are in for a longer bits box. Now, I want to go back about 2 weeks, because I talked about it and I did not give the conclusion to the people. And what it is that I built myself a gaming table.
Oh, yeah, and it looks really good.
With a skill saw.
We need some terrain, though.
And all of that. And, man, that thing looks so good. It is 72 inches by 53 inches, okay? So that's an extra foot wider than it, or longer than it needs to be, so that we've got a foot on the end of a 40K full-size mat for possibly nailing a dice tray to it. Or I may magnetize the dice tray to it. That way we could move it off if I want to.
And you got a custom dice tray, didn't you?
Yeah, I need to get that guy's name. I've got a custom dice tray on order. There's a guy around here in the south of the United States of America for our international listeners, and I don't know if he's got a full-on business with it yet, but he's not charging enough money for these laser cut MDF custom jobs that he's doing.
So you took advantage of him.
Well, I mean, I asked him what he needed, and I was prepared to pay $60 or $80, and my man came back with $20, and I said okay, and I haven't seen it. Well, I've seen pictures of it, and it looks excellent. It appears to be solid. I imagine it's going to work good, and maybe I'll tip him out 10, but I'm going to have a talk to that boy about how to capitalize on this stuff he's doing. I mean, he put logos and things on it. But I'm going to go back to the build of the table.
And from what you showed me of it, it looked pretty good. Tell us about the table.
Yeah, I will. So I may share the plans for it because I took the computer-aided drafting for 3 years in high school, so I'm quite handy at making a little blueprint. So I've got all the measurements on my drawing and everything and what you need. But it's a 2x4 rectangle that then has a big, we use 3/4-inch plywood top. And then it has 2x6 legs that are just done in an L shape all around. Whole thing's flush, or you could put a rim around it, because then I took the 2x6s and went around the whole top, making a band all the way around, which really classed it up. I think that you've posted it on the X.
I believe I did.
Yeah, so you guys go check that out. And the cost of this thing currently was $167 in lumber. I looked up what a table of this size would cost.
Oh, yeah. Some of those are crazy.
Like $3,000.
Oh.
And this is unfinished presently. However, you could just paint it black, especially if you got the heavy latex exterior paint. A couple of tips. You need somebody to help you move it. It's really, really heavy, which is nice because I'll get to the Star Wars in a moment because, like I said, I've created a monster. But me and the girlfriend moved it in before the legs were even on it, and it was all we can handle. But we've been playing on it, and it does not move. If you kick the legs, it doesn't move. Nothing. It's great.
Shout out to the Slaneshi waifu, Valerie.
Yeah, and so she's gotten so into the Star Wars Shatterpoint as she waits on her Slanesh demons to come in stock on the GW website and in various places. She won't stop buying everything available for Star Wars Shatterpoint. I have painted so many.
You feel like you're in a Smash Mouth music video because they don't stop coming.
The models start coming and they don't stop coming. And I have painted so many characters to my highest ability. But I'm getting better at it. It. And so, this man. And so I finally built Cypher. And I am issuing a challenge here on 40K Fanatics. For someone with their Dark Angels, with Lionel Johnson, Asmodai, that other guy whose name I can never remember, that just got the new model. Belial. Samael. All dim boys. Cypher longs to be pursued.
Yeah, he finished up his Cypher.
And I would like to play somebody. And I want to play Cypher against Dark Angels for his first time out. He's fully painted. He's really lovely. I've been spraying inks through the airbrush and really enjoying that, man. I tell you, nothing makes the most out of an undercoat like inks through the airbrush. It's like the ink color does not even work on the black parts, and then whatever dry brush
Inks are
gradient.
dope, man.
Whatever dry brush gradient you put on, whatever gradients you have from airbrush zenithal. I imagine that color mixing can also take place, but I am not gotten that brave. I feel like if I do anything, it'll end up, puke yellow. So I've just been doing white and black and then spraying my colors on to tint that, almost like you do in Photoshop is the way I'm trying to get my head around that process. But it's turning out really good. I got a brown ink, and I just sprayed it straight over my white zenithal and various, kind of values that I put in on Cypher's cloak. So it ended up looking really good. It's a little chocolatey, but it's got a lot going on, and I really think it turned out good. What else have I been doing? I've played so many games of Judge Dredd lately.
Oh, really?
With our I Am the Law starter set.
Is it easy to get into?
It is really easy to get into, and it's a different kind of game. Judge Dredd miniature game from Warlord Games is not anything like a Star Wars Shatterpoint, a Marvel Crisis Protocol, or a Kill Team or a 40K. In that, it is more akin to an RPG. It's more like a Dungeons & Dragons, but it's just the battle system. And it is deeper than Dungeons & Dragons battling. So it's in between. It's a style of game from an old time. Back when think about your 40K from when it first came out.
More of a storytelling.
It is. And so the balance can be funny. Also, I've established in many games against Miss Valerie that I am the unluckiest person in the world. So she's playing a gang of little gangers, and they're all painted up and they're nice. And
did you turn into me?
Well, and I'm playing
Is this game your kryptonite?
It appears to be, and I'm playing a couple of judges.
That's
this
awesome.
thing has a whole point score thing, and we're playing similar points. However, this game works by the chip in a bag activation system, where you have all your chips in a bag and all my chips are in the same bag, and then to decide what activates next, we pull a chip out of the bag. And it's something like 4-2. I have 2 chips, she's got 4 chips. I've played 5 games in a row where I have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, all her chips. And by the time I get to mine, all my dudes are dead. And so it takes 4 minutes to reset the whole thing. And then I have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, all her chips.
Interesting.
After losing this way 2 times in a row, I just put the chips in a bag and drew them again at random, shaking them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, her chips.
I declare a clone war.
It was shocking. And it's been like that continually. So what I'm doing is I'm getting one of the lesser factions who sometimes team up with the judges, and then I'm running like a judge and some of these little cannon fodder dudes. That way I can get some chips in the bag to activate somebody before everyone gets shot to death. But it is very fun. It's super easy to pick up. It's really cool. We get to say, "You betray the law," over and over and over again. I think that's my bits box. But I want to hear about the game you played.
Yes.
Because I understand that you had an issue.
So I played Tyranids this weekend, and it was rather a rough game. Honestly, I very think that this guy has the key to how to beat orcs with his army.
Tell me what happened.
Tell me why.
Do you know what detachment he was running?
I think he was just running whatever of the hive mind. Just the normal. I've got it on my phone.
So it was the one that does all the battle shock stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So I played him, and he brought a lot of monsters, like a lot. I mean, he brought a Haruspex, a Norn Emissary. He brought what is it called, a Neurolictor. He brought the Neurothropes, couple 20-man blob and gaunts, Hive Tyrant, and it was just insane. All these big things just sitting there. And I had no idea what to go after because I've never really played Tyranids. So I'm like, get the big thing.
So where was the problem?
The problem. So as you know, I do have a tendency of making very bad rolls. So I will chalk up this game to two things, and it was we are trying to get ready for an RTT coming up. So there's a lot of stress there for me and you to get the tournament list ready and practiced.
You are doing that. I am just going to rock up with whatever looks cool.
And still probably win like half your games.
No. I have set aside any care of winning. I'm playing golf tomorrow. My competitive itch is going to be scratched by the time the RTT comes around.
So, I think that over preparation definitely laid it on too thick. With orcs, you do play a lot of stuff that you want to do. It's fun, but if you spend too much time like a normal army focusing on things that are going to buff other things or strategy and stuff, and it doesn't work out because you're an orc player, it's going to kind of let you down. So
I guess the issue was that you kept running dudes into these monsters, and the monsters just slaughtered you on the hit back because you could not break their toughness.
Yes. I actually played very conservatively, used the Wa turn 2 and 3 because of the Wa banner, fought his Norn emissary and a few other things, and man, I was surprised that he only had one character out of the whole army. Gosh, and the smackback was ridiculous, and he was able to bring back models. Anyways, what I was saying is I think I just prepared too much, tried to remember all my stuff too much, and stressed that this was what I need to do for that tournament. I let something in the future cloud my judgment, and as you know, my rolls are pretty terrible. I mean, I rolled 20, 30 wounds on his Norn emissary, and I needed 6s. I got 1. 1 out of 20 to 30 dice.
Yeah, I mean
20 to 30 dice, Shane.
Yeah, look, you don't have Gazgul. You probably don't need to fight the Norn emissary.
I bogged him down pretty dang good.
I believe it.
And I actually nerfed his emissary.
Yeah, so here's the thing about the Norn emissary.
OC, baby.
Yeah, isn't it the one that can be OC 20?
Something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't really care if you come and mess with it or not.
Yeah.
So, that's a little bit of not knowing your opponent. And also, we've said it before, you got to get a Gazgul.
I do.
Because you need that beat stick. Just like how I have the War Master in mine.
100%.
There's nothing
the Norn
anybody...
emissary is a epic hero, right?
Yeah. I think so. I don't think you can take 2 of them. But I'm just saying, you need to...
doubt it.
Especially in an orc army where you've got to have somebody to... where you're going to fight everybody to the death. You got to have a beat stick that can go do some beating.
Yeah, I think what also did me bad was I played too conservatively. In previous games, you've talked about it before. Get Casey to Wa turn 1 and he's finished.
Oh yeah.
So, I played too conservatively, held back, and didn't get the punch in time, and he was able to turn into a stone wall, basically.
What was the score like?
Ooh, we didn't even finish our game. We got to turn 3. We'd been there for 4 hours, man. Gosh, yeah, it was one of those games.
I don't even understand that.
Like I was saying, I was just too focused on trying to get everything memorized and down strategically, effects, auras, stratagems, everything. And that's honestly put me in such a sour mood, and it robbed me of my fun. It did.
Wow.
Too much gamesmanship and not enough sportsmanship.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing with clocks at the RTT.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, not me.
But I'm going to try to have fun.
I usually end up with a good
20
lesson. Or 30 minutes more than my opponent.
It was a good lesson.
Let's close the bits box. I think that's all we've got. The new Dataslate came out. Finally.
Yes.
I saw somebody say 143 days since the last Dataslate. For those of you that don't
Really?
know, a Dataslate is the balance patch for the game, which comes out quarterly or so.
I can bring more orcs.
Yes, so it's a points change, and it's also rules changes and things of that nature. Now, a lot of the community and a lot of the discourse around this you will find to be very, very negative.
Shane,
What?
you forgot.
What did I forget?
Who's going to be getting our new Chaos Space Marine from McFarlane Toys?
Oh, you want to do that now?
I figure why not throw it out
Everybody pause the main topic. We're pausing the main topic. Don't pause the pod. That would be silly. But
there. We're doing this live.
Casey has chosen a winner.
Randomly. The winner of our Chaos Space Marine from McFarlane Toys is Jawa Bob.
Jawa Bob. Where did you find Jawa Bob? What
on
platform?
our YouTube.
On YouTube.
He's been pretty active in the comments, pretty active subscriber. Let's see if he's listening now and gets back to me about getting this Space Marine.
Yes, Jawa Bob, reach out to us any way that you can so that we can actually send you a thing.
If not, I'm picking somebody else.
That's right.
But
we don't know how we'll disseminate that information, but congratulations, Jawa Bob.
Yeah. Good job for you, man. Thanks for the support. Clap. Golf clap. Golf clap. Golf clap. You like golf.
Jawa Bob.
Yeah, there he goes. But continue.
Yes. So you'll find a lot of the discourse about the data slate and the balance changes to be highly negative, and I don't know why. I mean, I can speculate why is because people don't like change. However, they spend all the time desiring change because the game's so broken and X, Y, and Z is so busted and Games Workshop does such a bad job with rules and yada, 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 yada. I like to look at these things as, oh boy, there's new stuff. I cannot get my head around people's desire for known variables in this game. If all you want is known variables, go and play checkers. Okay? But what was in the data slate? A lot of clarification was in the rules commentary. The rules commentary is up to 20 pages now.
Stratagem stuff too.
Yes, there was that's in the balance change, which I will get to. But let's talk about rules commentary. There was a lot of stuff. It's on the Warhammer community downloads tab under 40K. It's the rules commentary, and all the new stuff is in red, like the Word of God. And it's a bunch of stuff like the thing that is the thing has done the thing. It's a lot of legalese that they've added. There's 5 bullet points on how to apply mortal wounds in the case of hazardous tests. And it works exactly like you would think it does, where the thing that was holding the plasma explodes. It's not that complicated, but it's been spelled out in tedious black and white for people that were trying to do it strangely. What else? Overwatch has been adjusted.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'll have to look at that. What's
so
going on there?
so all they did was they said that the Overwatch target is the unit that is re-rolling the dice roll. Can you wrap your head around why that's important?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so in a stratagem, you've got a win, you've got a what does it target, you've got a what does it do, you've got restrictions, okay? That's the 10th edition stratagem format, except when it's not, but that's it most of the time. And some people were trying to play why am I saying Overwatch? I keep saying Overwatch. It's command reroll.
Oh, that's
I'm so sorry.
I was like, yeah, I knew everything about command reroll, and you were talking about Overwatch. Man, are you not prepared?
I'm not prepared, I guess.
Prepared?
You know what? All you guys got to do is go back to the balanced data slate of this podcast, and change Overwatch to command reroll.
Command reroll has changed
Because
unlike Shane's memory.
I swear.
It's terrible.
I swear. The reason they did this is some people were trying to get their command reroll in on things that were battle shocked, and you can't do that, obviously, because
because it recently changed.
Because the stratagem targets the battle shocked thing. There's also been a change to objective secured or sticky objective units, where previously it had said that you don't unsticky it until the start of your command phase, or until the end of the turn, I think, one or the other, which made you have to stand there for a long time. Now it checks at the end of every phase. So in your movement phase, if you walk across a sticky objective that is no longer sticky because you've killed all the little cultists or all the Gretchen or whatever the heck. I don't know. Did Gretchen have sticky?
No.
Anyway, if you killed everything there and it was sticky, at the point that the movement phase ends, you've got it. Or at least it's no longer claimed, and then you can move off of it or charge off of it or whatever, and they will not score those primary points the next time unless they somehow get something back on it, you see? So that was a nice clarification. Points-wise, a lot of stuff moved around. Your guys got cheaper. My guys, the Chaos Space Marine, your orcs got cheaper, which could help for you pounding on that Norm Emissary.
Yep, it's pretty great. I added another unit to my tournament list.
Very nice. Some of my stuff got more expensive. I had to take a unit away. That's fine. They changed my you can't target me stratagem from 12 to 18 inches. That's kind of a big deal. Yeah. 18 inches is a long way.
That is. Wow.
A big headline here is that Drukhari got an entire detachment.
Really?
Out of the blue.
Well, I mean, they did just get some new models.
They did get new models, and it seems like that the new detachment has got an eye toward those new models. However, I think it's interesting that they were the only ones to get a new detachment, and they got it just out of the air. Like,
really?
I mean, yeah, you could still use the old one, but now you have a new one.
Huh. Think you could do? You think they'd do Tau too, since they'd had that big Kroot reveal?
Well, Tau has their book coming out soon.
That's yeah, you're right. So maybe we'll see that in the future.
A very interesting one that did not get touched one iota is the Necrons. The Necrons received...
Well, they did just win the Las Vegas Open. So do they need to be touched?
Well, it would appear so, because they are beyond the accepted win rate that the GW MetaWatch is trying to have. They want the win rates to be between 45 and 55%. They're up at 57, I believe. And yet, they did not get points reductions or increases. They did not get balance changes of any sort. Nothing.
Shout out to the homie Dallas in Jonesboro.
Yeah. Which says to me...
Flying high right now.
Which says to me that they've still got some codexes in the warehouse that they would like to sell.
You know what that says? That does sound like a Games Workshop thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like powerful Necrons? Keep buying our stuff.
That's right. That's right. Now, the old Aldari, who have been the boogeyman of 10th edition since it came out with their however many fate dice they got, it's a lot. It's been cut nearly in half or totally in half, down to 6 now. It was double digits. I think I want to say you had 11 fate dice. I could be wrong. But now it's 6 fate dice. So you essentially get to call your shot only once per phase and only 6 times in the game. Their points were also adjusted because in my limited experience with Games Workshop, they like to hit stuff twice. They like to double tap on a fix. If something is a little bit broken, it will, 1, be broken for quite a long time. And 2, when it's time to make a correction, by golly, they're correcting.
Yeah, they pretty quick. Lots. They hear those outcries on the socials whenever something gets funny, and they look at the memes. So,
I mean, it's funny because the meme of can we have Eldari nerfs, and they're like you've already had Eldari nerfs. It's like, well, what about
a second one?
Second Eldari nerfs.
I love that.
Well,
meme.
they got their second and their third this time because all the units that were good are now extra expensive, and also the things that made them really good have now been cut in half, which is their core army rule. Oof. So that's going to be interesting. The Drukhari suddenly have got better, so maybe you kit bash and repaint your elves to be bad guys now.
I'm just glad that orcs have a higher win rate than Space Marines. They are just 2 ranks a little lower than Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, that kind of the low Space Marine win rate thing, I think has more to do with selection bias than anything
I think it's
else.
hilarious.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying about selection bias?
Oh, yeah.
So many people play Space Marines that you're gonna get some punters, if you will.
Yeah, and then you've got the guy who has been playing orcs for like 30 plus years, or the Eldar player has been playing for 30 plus years, and he's just like, I'm going to destroy this kid.
Yeah, I just think that some of those armies with the really high win rate and the very low usage rate.
High saturation.
Well, what I'm saying is the opposite.
Oh.
Is that the selection bias? What I mean is, Eldari is nobody's first army.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Like 1 in 5, maybe.
Nobody has gone out, like, excluding people who play on Tabletop Simulator, because when they decide to buy an army, there's no telling what they're doing. Yeah, but I don't think there's anybody who has discovered 40K with all its pomp and circumstance around the heresy and the Space Marines, sort of the poster children of the thing. And the orcs are part of that.
Yeah.
The Eldari are way out here in my view of the thing. They're way out there on the side.
As it should be.
Yeah, and you're lucky if you can find all the range of models anyway. And so, I think the people that play that, it's not their first rodeo. Whereas, even in a case of something like an LVO, where a lot of those numbers were gathered, there's people that are taking baby's first Space Marine army and paying their money because, look, this hobby's expensive. Therefore, a lot of the people that play it have got some expendable income. They can afford to say, I'm going to go play an LVO in Vegas because I want to go to Vegas. Am I going to win? Hugely unlikely. Does it matter to them? Not really. I'm playing the RTT in a week, and I don't care if I win or not. But I got $20 to play all day. And some people are like, I got plane ticket money, hotel money, gambling money, and I'll play some Warhammer while I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, you told me how much just a beer in Vegas is, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
It is prohibitively expensive.
We're going to have to be doing this for a couple years before we could even think about doing that.
Shout out to the homie Jeremy, though, who did go to LVO and played his Black Templars in the Crusade event there, and he had a lot of fun. I'm trying to think what else we had. We got the new Drakari detachment. It's a very fighty detachment, by the way, which is interesting.
Punchy?
Yeah, very punchy. It's got stuff on the charge. It's got some stuff on the shoot and scoot, which they already did, so it's kind of a different flavor of that. But the Dark Angels supplement was not included in the new Dataslate, so that may or may not get FAQ'd right off the bat. We will see. There's also an interesting scenario now with points in the back of the book will not match the points that are currently out, because the points that got released the other day had adjustments, especially in all of your Green Wing units. And so if those are in the back, I mean, even some Dark Angels units got adjusted, and then you're going to have the Codex come out, and the points in the back of it will have already for a week been out of date.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny. People are upset about that.
I bet after the pre-orders and stuff for all those, man.
There was one Overwatch change. You straight up can't Overwatch Titanic units.
Yeah, wasn't that recent though, right?
I think now you can't shoot at them. I could be wrong about this, but there was something in red about the Titanic units.
Yeah. There was also an update to the app as well.
Yeah, the app has got... So the app's funny, right?
It is funny.
We keep losing functionality of the app with every codex that comes out.
Yes, as everyone knows, or as some of you don't know, if you get a new codex and have already been using the official Warhammer 10th edition app, then when your codex comes out, you will have to scan the QR code of your codex that you bought in the store to activate your armies list again on the app.
Yeah, and you can't even use the index part. And so,
Which sucks because we're both getting codexes here soon.
yeah, and I intend to buy the codex. I just
Me
think,
too, because I like pictures.
yeah, I just think it's interesting how we're constantly losing chunks of the app as it's free or anyway.
I hate it, but I respect it.
Yeah, but
Like,
but then they just added a functionality, which is
they did.
what do they call it?
Command bunker.
The command bunker tab. So in your list, your one list, if you have the free version of the app and don't have Warhammer Plus like I do, you can see all the data cards that are in the list that you're playing and all the stratagems and all the enhancements that you have assigned to your guys, which is
Yeah.
really, really nice. The app has been missing that because up till now, if you wanted to reference something, you had to go into the unit
Where you would customize it.
where you would customize it. And I got to imagine there had to be some chicanery going on in our
very clunky.
in our brethren who may be prone to skullduggery. I'm sure there was a little bit of war gear swapping, and also there was probably some war gear swapping accidentally
Yeah, that's fair.
because it was just hard to go check.
yeah.
Now you don't have that. You've just got the data cards right there handy,
And it's got the stratagems.
and it's got the stratagems,
Factions.
and it's got the army
stratagems
rules.
12.
It's got all of it right there in one section.
Detachment rules,
which
too.
which is very nice.
Used to, you would have to go into the search bar, type it in, and then look for it, and scroll and look for it. So you'd be like in the middle of doing something and be like, I'm going to use this stratagem. And then somebody be like, what exactly is that?
Yeah,
And it didn't have faction specific either.
Do you want 4-hour games? Because that's how you get 4-hour games.
Exactly.
You know what though?
And now it has, if you are in your list and you click Command Bunker, it has not only the stratagems, but also the stratagems for your faction.
Yeah, I like it. I do think, man, I've got the cards, the index cards,
You do have the cards.
and they make it a lot easier. And as stuff dies, you put them back in the shoebox.
Time to duel.
Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh thing?
Heart of the cards, baby.
I missed Yu-Gi-Oh.
I
That was
miss classic Yu-Gi-Oh.
that was too far.
I miss Yu-Gi-Oh GX.
You know
That was
what
cool.
you know what I do miss?
What?
I miss Digimon, where everything ended in Mon, and also your tiny little puppy animal Digimon would then become like an angel person with wings.
Yeah.
And be-
Eventually,
and-
it's
and-
just like we're gonna
and-
make it look like such a dope, cooler monster as it gets bigger, and then finally the last one was like, it's an angel.
Yeah, I just think there's something weird going on with Digimon. How at the end of every evolution chain, they would be some sort of attractive humanoid.
It's weird.
And that makes me feel some kind of way,
Gosh.
and I like it.
Let's circle back. It's so dumb. Squigs.
What about Squigs?
Squigs are like Digimon.
Does Squigs become an attractive humanoid at the end?
Well, there are so many different types of squigs out there. I wouldn't doubt it if there was one. They do have a squidgeon, which is a squig pigeon.
I don't like that.
They use it like a messenger thing. So it's one step away from being an angel.
I feel like that we've probably left out a large part of this data slate thing.
Gosh, yeah, we probably did.
But that's about it.
I mean, I'm not a real junkie, but you're the game master, so no one blame me, blame him. I just focused on the orc stuff.
Here's the thing, okay?
Sportsmanship over gamesmanship.
Nah, I mean, whatever. Here's the thing about the data slate. To many people's chagrin, not a lot got changed. Some things got clarified. And the things that got clarified are really down in the minutia. And also, the reason for some of these clarifications, which are largely superfluous, is 'cause of y'all. Who are y'all? You know who y'all are. Oh, well, it says blank, and so I'm going to do this ridiculous thing. Stop it. Stop it.
Stop.
Nobody wants to play with you. Ask yourself, next time you're thinking, ooh, I found me a little loophole, say, does this make sense? Is anybody going to enjoy me doing this? Have I ever seen this happen? Stop it. Let me tell you, there's something to having now played a lot of the Judge Dredd game. The rule book has got a lot of fluff in it, and it is,
I hope so.
I think, 80 pages of rule book. And it's got the whole game. All of it. All of it, Casey.
Plus cool art and lore.
Cool art, lore, all of it. And it is tiny. The shooting in that game is 1.5 pages. The fighting is another page. On the fighting page, there's a chunk of the comic book at the bottom of one of the pages, okay? And there's a lot of instances where you have to just decide with the person you're playing with, you think this is how this works? And you just have to say, probably. And you know what? We still have fun. There is not enough money to be won in this 40K competitive game for y'all to be out here doing what you're doing. Stop it. I beseech thee. Now, that concludes our main topic.
You were talking about a new segment.
Well, hold
Shane?
on. I did have one more point that I wanted to tag this with. Last week, we talked about the LVO winning list of Necrons with the homie Lane. Go check that out. Check out his segment at the end where we interviewed him about it and broke down a little bit of how it worked.
We included the list on the YouTube video for those of you who want to check that out.
Yeah, you can check it out in depth. And I said in that interview not to use
It
this
as a shopping list.
Exactly. And even though Necrons were not touched,
Pay to win.
Yeah, you do have a little more time to pay to win. However, what happened to Aldari is why you cannot use this stuff as a shopping list. Or, I mean, you can. Knock yourself out. However, you don't know if the balanced data slate is coming every quarter or if they throw out an FAQ next week. Okay? So, do with that information what you will. I like to lean on the side of happy. And it makes me happy to paint up Cypher, who is widely considered to be trash. But you know,
Is he?
Yeah, he doesn't do anything. He's got a lone operative. He can't lead anybody. He's got a gun that has a 12-inch range, and I think the other might be 8 because he's got 2 different pistols.
Speaking of which, I have also ordered a very looks cool, wanna play model that I will not reveal until I have it fully painted.
I look forward to seeing it.
It's gonna be great.
And now our new Space Marine segment. We're very excited to bring you weekly Space Marine content, largely for the algorithm. There are 9 loyalist Space Marine legions.
What? No way!